Hello there. Still on my walk on Bob Harris Road. This is basically my neighborhood where I'm doing a project called Herentia. We are calling it the heartland of good living. And in the last walk, we looked at the due diligence process, or the most basic process of buying a piece of land, whether through an agent, whether through your lawyer, through the developer, even through yourself in terms of that process. And today I want us to look at what are some of the things that we tend to ignore, or we don't look deeper when you're buying that piece of land, whether it's a plot, an apartment, or whatever kind of an asset that you want to purchase. And in depth, I want to look at things that would accrue over and above a selling price. Let's say we are selling land, like currently we are selling a plot at Herentia at 4.2 million. What are other things that you need to look at over and above the 4.2 million? Those are things I want us to explore. And most of the time, these are things that we call the closing costs in a sale agreement. And sometimes you actually get them even at a booking form or at an offer letter. So anytime you get an offer letter from a developer, either through yourself or through our wakili, make sure that you look on those fine prints. What are these things that, or what are these costs that are over and above the selling price or the purchase price? And even with the AI, you're actually able to get these items quite fast from a draft sale agreement. Just scan it, put it on AI, and prompt collect in terms of what are the costs that are over and above the selling price, and the AI will be able to extract all those costs for you. And allow me to delve into those aspects that we ignore. Number one is something called the stamp duty. Most of the time when you're buying a piece of land or an apartment or an industrial park or whatever you're buying that is a physical asset in nature, the government of the day would require you to pay stamp duty. And stamp duty is a percentage of the purchase price, or the valuation they do at the registry or the lands office when you're paying the stamp duty. And currently within the municipality, the stamp duty is at 4%. So you need to check whether that is inclusive of the purchase price or exclusive. And most of the time you'll find it is never part of the purchase price. So from that, you're able to establish if your piece of land is at, if you're buying a piece of land at 4 million, so you're looking at paying a stamp duty of 4 million times 4%, that gives you around 160,000. So make sure you have an extra 160,000. The other aspect that we ignore mostly is the legal fees. You'll find that when you go to buy a piece of land from a developer, most of the time the developer will have their lawyer on board. But you'll find you as the purchaser, you're the one to meet the legal fees because of the transaction that is going to take place, the sale agreement, the follow-up, registration of your titles at the lands office. So you'll find legal fees at times for big projects is negotiated, or even sometimes is as per the skill of the lawyers, as per the LSK. So it's good to check how much the legal fees, so that if the legal fees to process a 50 by 100 plot is 100,000, if it's 200,000, make sure you have that extra cash so that you don't get stuck along the way. The other amounts that are never included is basically valuation. Valuation, you find this basically when you're buying a piece of land, before the transfer is done, the valuation has to happen by the government of the day. So you find these costs come in as disbursement at the lawyer's office. So it's always good to establish how much that is it. Then we have the transfer fee. So that comes as part of the disbursement. Establish how much that is. If your land is agricultural and you're doing a transfer, the land board also comes on board. there's a small fee that would happen there, either through your lawyer or through the person who will take you to land board, because you have to appear there. If you're married, you go there with your wife and your husband to make sure that the transfer or the consent is given. All these are cost elements that you need to check. If you're looking at a cost that would accrue also, we are looking at service charge. You find some developments are now charging service charge, like Herentia, where like ourselves we are doing at 3,500 per month. And service charge here is basically to cater for common services, that is garbage collection. We have security, maintaining the common areas, and different developments, whether it's an apartment, we'll have various regime on service charge. So it's good to establish how much is service charge. Okay. Then we have another component that is over and above the stamp duty, that we call the land rent. Land rent you basically pay at the government level, and these are an annual rent. And when you buy a piece of land in your title, you will see actually the amount written, the annual rent that you need to pay on that piece of land. So establish whether the person selling you the piece of land have cleared those annual rents, so that you don't take up the burden of paying them once the land is in your hands. So establish all that. Those are actually some of the costs sometimes are silent. The other cost that is silent that you also need to check is land rates. Land rates are basically paid at the county level, and you'll find that basically land rates are paid annually. So you'll find maybe the person selling you a piece of land have not paid for maybe the last 1 year, the last 2 years. Again, it's important to ensure that the land rates for the land you want to buy are up to date. And basically how you establish this is basically requesting for documentation. Either you request for the most recent paid up rate receipt or a clearance certificate, and through that you're able to establish all that. And then in terms of who bears which costs when you're doing this transaction, you find that the buying process, there will either be an agent who need to be paid a commission. So it's good to know who is responsible for paying this commission. Is it the vendor or the purchaser? So that at least, again, you don't have people following your back that they assisted you to get a piece of land and there is money to be paid. So it's important to establish who is responsible for commission payment. The other aspect that you need to establish in that document. So most of these things I'm talking about, all of them are not in the sale agreement. Others are silent features that you may need to establish as you're discussing with your developer or the seller who is selling this piece of land. And then the other silent costs that will also come up, like you're driving to where the land is, that you need to fuel your car, you need to meet a few people, that you buy lunch. So most of the time you find these are all costs that would go towards you buying that piece of land. So it's good to establish all those aspects. It's good to sometimes, like in the diaspora, basically these things you're not doing yourself. Either you're sending a relative, you're sending an agent. So it means as much as the agent is being paid commission on the other side, there's some facilities that you may need to pay him, so that at least he also be able to carry out this work for you. And finally, it's good to understand what is the responsibility of the developer. What amenities are they providing? Are they doing the roadworks? Are they delivering power on site? Are they delivering water on site? And here on site, I don't mean at the point of the main gate, or they may be 2 kilometers away. Are they delivering these amenities to your point of entry at your gate? So at least this will help you to plan as you buy this piece of land. So those are some of the basic aspects that that you need to check. You need to check the land rates. You need to check the stamp duty costs. You need to check the legal costs, valuation, the transfer fees. You need to check the commission, who's paying the commission, so that at least as you buy a piece of land, make sure that if you're buying a land at least maybe around 400 million, around 4 million, I'm looking at you actually setting aside almost another 250,000. Basically, a piece of land, that a plot that you're buying at 4 million, you basically need to have at least 4.3 million to enable you to have done all those processes and have the title on your hands. See you tomorrow as we do the walking.